like the simple audio summits that I teach, and you've decided that Hello Audio is the tool for you. So first off, we're going to have a start with the feeds, but I will come in and show you these other areas as well once we've got that set up. So go into your feed. Pop your name in and then drag an image. I just have an example image to use for the moment. And then here we can choose to use date-based, instant, or drip. I would recommend date-based. That allows you to control when each episode's going to air. The choices, I recommend filling these out just as much as you can, but don't stress too much about them. Depending on the plan you're on as well, you might be able to add in the custom feed color, which is always fun. And the way I'm going to show you how to set this up, but you have that option as well. So once you've got all of that filled out to your heart's content, click save. And then you'll be sent to your new feed. So your new feed is completely empty. And right now you could direct people to this feed. However, when someone's podcast player and it's a big customer service, I'm going to recommend that you record a super quick welcome audio and have that set up live to go before you start sharing anything. There's something there and they can add the podcast to their player of choice. So to do that, we can actually add in both videos and audios. You'll see that there's MP3, M4A, MP4, like all these different options for files you can use. And I love this because I often end up recording my presentations and things in Loom, and I can just dump a Loom video straight into Hello Audio and it processes it for me. So you see here that I don't have it published yet. And then I start as unpublished, and then I have the date that I uploaded it. You'll also see it has the kind of ugly title from my video. So let's go into the little pen icon here and we can update that. So first up, let's update this. This is the episode title, so welcome. Have some show notes here just saying like, welcome to the Simple Audio Summit, and then anything else. I recommend setting up your universal footer. This is really helpful for any links you want to share across the entire summit, but also a great place to put like your website, your privacy policy, things like that. So join the wait list for my group program, something like that. You can put that there. You can have then copyright, whenever it is, your name, so I like to just put my little like privacy policy. I'll link out my name to my website. And then the call to action, I'll make it bold and then have that also link to the right page. Simple as that. We have our audio here. If you've uploaded something wrong, if you've edited it, you can actually come back in here and replace the media. You just click this, search in your downloads folder, and then put the new one in. You can test it. You can actually listen to the audio you've got to make sure it's the right one. If you're on the Powerhouse plan, you can also use this to generate a transcript. You do need to first save and have the episode up. Then you can come back in and generate the transcript. This has been super helpful when you do want to offer transcripts for your audio summit, but it isn't available on all plans. So I just want to... Then you have episode type, just leave that as full, and then here we can choose when we publish. So as I said, this welcome audio, we want to just have live as soon as possible, so you don't need to update that. But then if you've got, say, your speakers for day one, you'd put that day one, whatever time you want that to go out. And it will be released in the order of you scheduling them. So if you want to have a specific order for your speakers, you might have to have them released like 1 minute later than the other, just to reorder things. So once you've got all this set up nicely, you can confirm. And I still haven't published here, and that's because I could toggle here to say published, or if it's the very first time, I like to just make sure that my show notes have actually saved, and I can toggle the publish on here as well. So let's have a look at some of the other features in the feeds section. So here we have the feed details, and this is where you can find your universal link. This is the link that we're going to share with people who've signed up for your audio summit and you want to give them access to the feed. This link doesn't actually allow them to sign up through Hello Audio and become a listener in your Hello Audio feed. This just lets them bypass that and get straight to the audio. So it's great from a customer service perspective, but a little bit annoying because then in the listeners tab, you won't see those people listed. So I'll actually show you in a minute the way I recommend giving access so you can have those listeners and you can track people's access. But that's useful to know if you're having issues. This is the link I would encourage you to share if someone's just really struggling to get in. This one will get them straight in. And let me show you what that looks like when you open it. So this is my universal link. You'll see that I just have like any basic information I've opened, QR code because it does work better on your phone, and then options to add through the different feed options here. So let's come back in here. So the listeners tab will be anywhere that people who've signed up for your feed through either the integration or through the Hello Audio sign up page will be listed, and you can see if they've signed up but haven't added it to their podcast player, if they've listened. So that's really nice to get a granular sense of what's happening. Then you can see your stats. So this is where we'll see how many listens you get and when. And then dynamic content, again, only available, I think, in the Powerhouse plan, but just check your feed plan options. But here is a really, really fun feature that I have really enjoyed using, and that's to record preset intro and outro for every episode of the summit. It does include like a welcome audio and anything else you have that's just an announcement. So just be mindful that those pre-roll and post-roll clips will be added to every single episode in your feed. But these can be great for welcoming people to your summit, to invite them to like join the community, to hop on the waitlist for something, to register for your webinar if you're doing something like that, or just thank them for tuning in. So you can pre-record those, and this is the same logic as with our other audio. We just drop those in. And you'll see the audio here. You can choose the start and the end date. So if you have, for example, a special launch offer, you could have that show up just during those times. And you can see you've actually got options to do multiple dynamic feeds. So you could have like before the summit started, here's the dynamic content we want on those episodes, during the summit, and then even after. So that's something really fun to play with as well. Okay, so now our feed is pretty much ready to go. I want to show you your 3 options for adding people to this feed to actually give them access. So I mentioned the first one is this universal link. That's how they can just jump straight in, but they don't have to actually sign into Hello Audio or have any connection to Hello Audio for you to track them as listeners. So I don't prefer that for your own sake, but it is useful to know. The other option is the sign up page through Hello Audio. This is a really minimal page that doesn't really give you a ton of information about the summit, doesn't let you have kind of everything you'd want on your registration page, and you can't embed this into your registration page. So this would really be if you wanted to host your registration page on your website and then direct people to actually fill in the form to sign up to this page. So here we can set it live, and you can include things like the title, the author, your cover art, the description like this is my summit. Asking for their name, which I think is a good idea, and then agreeing for your terms of service, things like that, using custom colors if you have the Powerhouse plan. So once you've got these set up, you actually do need to go ahead and set a pricing option, even for a free plan. So you can just go ahead and say it's free, and then toggle that on. Important to toggle this on. So let me show you what that looks like. So this would be the page that people would actually come to sign up for the summit. So they'd see your graphic, your name of your audio summit, your little description and who it's from. The price is shown here as free, and then they fill in their contact info here. So again, this would really only make sense if you had like a landing page for your summit, your registration page on your website, and you wanted to direct people here to sign up, then they go straight through Hello Audio. into your email marketing system. So that's where we look at the automations tab here. Certain tools, certain email providers, if they have a direct integration with Hello Audio. Then select which tag you want them to be selected to. This I find just a bit backwards. It does mean find it just like a little bit clunky, and it doesn't work for all of the different email software you might be using. FG Funnels, Kit as well, MailChimp, MailerLite, they have a lot. I'm currently with Flodesk, so they don't have that option. And I do find, again, when I've tested this out directly with Kit, it's just not my favorite way to have people onboarded, and it adds an extra step in the registration process. So the way I recommend you use is in the integrations tab. You might have noticed that there's ThriveCart, and so I recommend setting up your registration page with ThriveCart. We have the template included in the course, and you can use that registration page, set it to be a checkout for a product that's free, a €0, £1 product. Then when people sign up, they can be added directly into Hello Audio. That means that they get an email from Hello Audio saying, yep, you're in. So let me show you how you set that up. So first you need to go ahead and in Hello Audio connect with ThriveCart. You just add your API key. They walk you through. It's very easy. Then you want to select the feed you want to add people to, and then select the action. So we want to add/update listeners. And then we want to make sure we send the invitation to listeners. So that means once someone has gone through your registration process in ThriveCart, they've signed up, they'll get an email from Hello Audio with their access details. And then you want to save those listener names so we have that listener data we can track. You can add a tag to those listeners if you'd like. So again, because you're going through ThriveCart, I just prefer to use their integration. It's really, really foolproof. So really what you need to do then is copy this and then hop into your ThriveCart. Inside your registration page product, you're going to go to automations at the very end, add a rule, and then when the main product is purchased, so purchased meaning just someone signed up for it, you would use the custom HTML, so not your email marketing system, but the custom HTML, and then paste that code that we copied earlier in Hello Audio in here and hit save. And that means anytime somebody has purchased, quote unquote, the free registration for your summit, they get added to that feed. Now, if you do have a lifetime access pass, I just recommend that you duplicate to add people to that. You would just check that you've selected the correct feed. So name it something obvious, like unless I've not had any tech issues with this way of delivering. If you don't want to use ThriveCart for your registration page, to go ahead and use the sign up page here. So now you've got started with your private podcast, I'm going to encourage you to use private podcasts in lots of creative ways. Programs. And as I mentioned at the top, I absolutely love hosting audio-only private podcast summits, simple audio summits that walks you through the entire process from the tech, but also the strategy behind it and how to keep the process feeling really simple, really easeful the whole way through. So I'll leave a link for that in the show notes if you'd like to check. And I'd love